Hello and welcome to In the Spotlight with Quocirca, the definitive podcast on digital disruption in the print industry. I'm Louella Fernandes, CEO of Quocirca, and we're pleased to be celebrating 5 years of our podcast and have some great guests lined up for you. Today, I'm joined by Kelly Woodfin from Ricoh Europe and Rowan Jeffreys-Hoar from Ricoh UK. We'll be discussing how Ricoh is driving growth with its recently launched Unity Channel Partner Programme. So welcome to the show, Kelly and Rowan. Firstly, could you tell us a bit about your roles at Ricoh? If we could start with Kelly.
Thanks so much, Louella. So I'm Kelly Woodfin. I'm the EMEA Commercial Director for the Partner Channel at Ricoh. I'm currently leading the design and implementation of our new EMEA Partner Programme called Unity. The programme launched across 10 countries on the 1st of September, with a remaining of 13 countries left to go this quarter in preparation for the 1st of April of next fiscal year. So my role, I'm responsible for driving not only the partner channel, but also the go-to-market strategies, really focusing on sales and marketing initiatives to support the partner success. So a bit of history and background. I bring 25 years experience working with tier one vendors like HP Inc., Samsung, Lexmark. And really throughout my career, I've led quite a few go-to-market strategies, sales and marketing partner ecosystems, really designing and building from a regional, global perspective.
Yeah, perfect. You've got some great experience. So we'll hear more about the channel programme as we get into the conversation. And Rowan, if you could tell us a bit about your role at Ricoh UK.
Sure. So you said my name. Hi, I'm Rowan. I head up the indirect channel at Ricoh UK. And like Kelly, I've been doing this a long time now. Surprises me to say probably more than 30 years. Over that time, I guess I've seen lots of change, lots of acquisitions, mergers, sales, people leaving, people coming back, and of course, lots of good memories. So I've always loved working with our partners. I've always loved driving our growth together. But today, Unity is an important milestone for Ricoh and how we support our partners moving forward. So really looking forward to discussing what's behind it and the benefits it brings.
Now, that's great. It's going to be really interesting to hear Ricoh UK's perspective of the Channel Partner Programme. So we'll get to that shortly. So firstly, Kelly, if we could start with you telling us a bit more information about Ricoh's Unity Channel Partner Programme and what it actually includes and encompasses and what you're trying to achieve for your partners.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So Ricoh Unity Channel Programme really is our new EMEA-wide framework design. It's there to create a more consistent and transparent and growth experience for our channel partners. At its core, Unity really brings together the partner strategy, the commercial model, enablement approach, and the go-to-market support under really one aligned structure across the region. The goal is to make it easier for our partners to do business with Ricoh, while really providing clear pathways for growth, differentiation, and profitability. So the programme is built around a few key principles: consistency across EMEA. So, really a harmonised framework that really ensures our partners have a familiar experience and opportunity regardless of the country. Growth-focused structure, so really clear levels and specialisms of how we can reward and recognise our partners through their capability, through their investment and joint success. The third is very much around enablement and capability development, very much a structured support across sales, technical, marketing functions to really help partners expand into the new solutions and services. And then finally, a much stronger go-to-market alignment to enable our countries with our partners to drive those joint business planning, those targeted campaigns and strategic focus areas to really accelerate mutual growth. So Unity is about deeper collaboration. It's very much a strategic relationship with our partners, supporting them not just as resellers, but really long-term growth with our partners within the Unity ecosystem. the best way to describe Unity, it's a simplification, it's a collaboration, and it's a growth enabler. It reflects Ricoh's shift from a very transactional perspective on hardware to services, digital workplace, and outcomes. And it's very much designed around our partner experience and how our partner does business with their customers through the capabilities and competencies. So I know that, when we move on to the next kind of question, you'll kind of get more of a feel with Rowan talking about the flavour of involving our OpCos in the design of Unity.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think, certainly something we've seen at Quocirca when we conduct our channel partner surveys is that there is a real need for stronger collaboration with their vendor partners. So we do see Ricoh as a really strong proposition for partners, and it's great to understand more about how you got to this stage. So Rowan, maybe you could tell us a bit more about how your feedback has influenced the shape of Unity, and Kelly, you could also maybe add in terms of how long this programme has really been in the making.
It feels like the programme's been in development for quite some time now. And Kelly, I guess maybe 18 months. Is that about right?
Slightly less, but yeah.
Okay. But us as a UK team, we've been very closely involved from the outset. And it's been extremely valuable to us and for everyone, I think, to help shape the programme in line with the feedback we've received from our partners. I mentioned that I've worked with our partners for 30 years. Other OpCos have been equally involved, and they work with their partners for an awful long time as well. So there's a lot of shared experience that's been brought to the programme. I think one of the key priorities from the beginning was to ensure we retained our local, quick and agile decision making. I've seen many programs launch over the years, many centrally run programs launch over the years that look strong on paper, but ultimately I think slowed down the responsiveness in the market. And I really, really, really wanted to avoid that from happening. For me, being easy to do business with is critical for us. And that for me, again, requires maintaining our local control and our local decision making. So I think what's great about Unity is it delivers the best of both worlds, a consistent European-wide partner program with all the benefits that scale can bring. But as I said, alongside the continued ability for us to make fast, locally driven decisions that support our partners day to day. And that not just for me, for all of the OpCos. And I think the feedback from the partners has been key to making sure that that's how we design it.
Yes, and Kelly, in terms of, so obviously you've got some great experience building channel programs. Were there any particular market signals that helped you identify that Ricoh needed to develop this new program, and what kind of feedback really influenced the program?
Yeah, I mean, the initial charter for me to come into Ricoh was really clear based on, previous experience, and then working with the likes of Rowan and equivalent leaders within the different countries. We've got a vast amount of knowledge and capabilities and skill set that sit within the Ricoh business. And the feedback that we already gained from our partners through the partner satisfaction survey really enabled us with our internal leaders of the business to really come together collectively and design this as a co-creation. So yes, I joined Ricoh on the 18th of December 24, and in a very short period of time, we kind of built this team across all our operating countries, multiple regions, and really with a very clear charter that we wanted to design something that was looking through the lens of the partners versus how we would want them to operate and deal with us. And that was, again, loud and clear from our countries, as Rowan said, to keep the agility, keep the flexibility, the level of service that we're offering our partners today, that hand-in-glove service. But how do we overlay that and drive a consistent approach where we can reward and recognise our existing partner ecosystem and also be able to onboard new partners into our new portfolio solutions and services? So, within a really short period of time, we came together as a cohort, really designed and created and implemented Unity. there was many debates around actually not only the name, but also, the structure of the levels, and also, our adjacencies with our specialisms. So we ran, voting structure to enable each of the markets where English is maybe not always their first language to come together, to give them a platform to be able to put their point of view across. And really, I'm amazed collectively, and Rowan's been a key member of this. The achievement just demonstrates of coming together, really having that line of sight of the end user has enabled us to kind of get to this point. So, really key, the co-creation with our operating countries has come first. We listened and we've built with a framework, but flexibility from within. It's not bureaucratic. And then really the evolution to take the partners with us on that journey, wherever they are on that journey, whether they're in a position where they just need to maintain their business or they want to drive growth in their capabilities and competencies.
Yes, and Rowan, I just wanted to really pick up on that because Kelly mentioned a shift from transactional to relationship-led partnerships. And, is that something you were hearing from UK partners? Because I guess the Ricoh portfolio is becoming more complex due to the different areas that you're operating in. And are you seeing this shift from traditional hardware services to more outcomes-based digital workplace services?
Yeah, good question. And picking up on what Kelly said, print is still very, very important to us. It's still very, very important to our partners, and we will never lose sight of that. But the world is a changing world. There's lots of opportunities that are going to come for all of us before we turn 100, which is our 90th birthday last week. And I think what's key for us is providing a platform that enables us to bring Ricoh's acquisitions and future acquisitions to our partner network. And for me, like I said, print will always be extremely important for us, but we've got to blend it with some of the acquisitions. DocuWare process automations is a fantastic example of that. It's been an amazing success story for us and our partners. And I think the more acquisitions we can do like that and bring to our partners, the better, because it will safeguard all of our profitability going forward.
In terms of what we're seeing in the market, we definitely see that as vendors are adapting to meet new market dynamics and customers looking to have more integrated solutions. I think it's really important that these channel programs aren't overly complex. So, Kelly, would you maybe explain why Unity is so important in terms of launching this now rather than 2 to 3 years ago, and maybe, picking up on what's changed most of the channel landscape that you've seen over the past few years?
Yeah, I mean, we take a lot of the research that you've done over the years, Louella, and I think it helps our organisation digest what other people are saying. So to launch Unity and the programme now really was a strategic and a timely decision. It was very much shaped by the changing landscape and the market dynamics, partner feedback, and also our long-term direction and strategy that Rowan's just mentioned. Customers' expectations have evolved. We know that they're no longer seeking those point products, but more integrated outcome-driven solutions that's combining the hardware, the software, the services. So what Unity is there to provide is a structured framework, really to help our partners expand their capabilities, move beyond that transactional selling, and deliver greater customer value. But at the same time, there's a clear, we know, fatigue, and you've written about it as well in the channel, around overly complex programs. And one of the things, the key principles, and it's within our design principles, was around simplification and harmonizing the approach across EMEA to bring that clarity, that consistency, and more importantly, the transparency to the partners, so that they and the OpCos can focus on growth rather than trying to navigate complex partner programs and the mechanics of having to jump through multiple hoops. So, it was really important to establish a solid, unified foundation that not only reflects Ricoh's evolution into the service-led organisation, but also with clear kind of levelling and predictability that define the support of where the partners are at right now and where they're wanting to move towards, and how do we give them greater visibility and confidence to invest in capabilities, whether they have them themselves or we can help support them with that. And that's something we will talk about further on. But really, ultimately, Unity isn't a rewards program, not at all. It's very much a strategic enabler that aligns Ricoh's direction with our partners' growth ambitions and strengthens that long-term partnership model.
In terms of the Unity program today, which regions is it now available in? Because I know UK's been quite involved in the development of the program, and maybe Rowan can talk about that in terms of the rollout in the UK. But firstly, I think we can clarify exactly which regions it's available in now.
We launched Unity to the channel across EMEA on the 1st of September, and we went live in a phased approach. It made real sense to do that in a phased approach based on market conditions, by listening to our operating countries of when they're ready, because we had to take into consideration whether they had their own local programs or structure, and we weren't wanting to be an inhibitor to that. So this had to come in as a transition, as a phased approach. So we launched in 10 OpCos, operating countries, in September of last year, and some of the bigger ones around Spain, France and Germany, just to name a few. And then from a second phased approach, right now, we are actually just going through our other 13 operating countries, UK being one of them, and taking our partners on that journey, ready to go live on the 1st of April. So those are the countries will include Italy, UK, our Nordics regions, and some of our Middle East and Africa business. So yeah, it's been very much a phased approach, and we've wanted to do that, as I've mentioned, to ensure that we're listening and we're bringing not only the partners on that journey, but we're not offering any confusion.
Okay. And Rowan, would you say that you're ready now to launch then on the 1st of April, and that the feedback that you provided, Kelly, in terms of developing that program is pretty much ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we didn't want to launch back in September. We wanted to launch in the UK 1st of April to tie in with our new financial year. It kind of made sense to us. Yeah, so with launching 1st of April, it gives us a chance to put the capability assessments out, which Kelly will go through in a little bit more detail shortly. But that gives us clear understanding of where each of our partners sit and their capability in the various different areas that we work with them on. So we're super excited to go live 1st of April. I think, like many initiatives of this scale, it's been a journey. And what April represents to me is version 1.0. And from there, our intention is to continue developing and refining the program and make sure that it kind of evolves with the market needs, and of course, partner feedback and OpCo feedback from the various different countries. Again, like we said, we wanted to have that flexibility and the agility, but I think as important as that, it's making sure that Unity evolves as the years progress, because we know the market's going to evolve. We know lots of things are going to change and develop over the coming years. So we've designed Unity to make sure that it can grow and evolve with us.
So it's very much an evolution, isn't it, in terms of how the channel program is going to be built out. And Kelly, in terms of, we discussed why there was a need for a new program and how it was addressing a different type of channel partner, and this move from transactional to relationship type business models. If partners had to just really understand 3 things about Unity, what would they be? And, I think it'd be interesting to understand what Unity gives partners that they didn't have before in the previous Ricoh channel program.
Yeah. So I'll start with the first one. It's easy, I'll kind of reel it off. Power of 3. Everyone remembers that. So it's one framework. It has multiple growth pathways within. So it offers that local agility that Rowan mentioned. It offers transparency and fairness in terms of the reward and recognition and engagement, because not one size fits all. Every country and every partner has a different lever and way to operate. So what we're doing is providing our local countries those decision making of, working with the partners on what those rewards engagement models look like. And then enablement over enforcement. We're not here to come in and say you've got to run and go through all of this red tape to gain access to all of the tools and the skills that's available. What we are saying is we're absolutely wanting to co-invest with our partners. We want to be that choice of where there is an appetite to drive growth. We want to be hand in glove with our partners and helping to enable them where there's an appetite to drive further capabilities. So that's kind of answered to your first question. And then what it gives partners, really, it's very much a refreshed kind of program, having built quite a few global regional ones in the past. What we've created here is really fit for Ricoh and Ricoh's partner ecosystem and new partners that we're wanting to attract. So it provides a clear strategic platform for that sustainable growth. It's moving beyond the traditional, like I mentioned, rebate focus models. It really supports capabilities and development and business expansion. And one of those that Rowan mentioned is very much making it easy from an onboarding perspective to bring our partners in, not just looking through a revenue lens. It's very much looking through multiple lenses in their capabilities and their competencies of how they do business with their customers. And actually then revenue is an element from within, but it's not the only common denominator. So it's looking at actually asking them to come on board through a consultative approach, trying to understand their areas of expertise and where their areas of appetite to drive growth, and then making sure that they come into the programme, into the levels and or specialisms based on those three lenses. And then once we're in there, we're helping them navigate across the other areas of the business into certification pathways, and then in through business planning, giving them further access to the new Unity benefits, which are supporting some of the local benefits that Rowan and the rest of the team are delivering today. So really that consultative approach and that enablement approach really bridges that capability gaps and really helps our partners move into higher value and evolve their business models. And we perceive ourselves being really primed to be able to do that.
So given that you've already launched in some regions like Germany, France and Spain, I know it's early days in the UK. What early feedback have you already had from your partners?
Yeah, no, for sure. So we've run 5 local partner summits where these were already part of the local execution of conversations and discussions and regular cadence that they have with their partners. Back in September time, the DACH region ran their partner event. We also had another one that was in Belgium in October/early November as well. So we really had an opportunity to speak to the partners, getting their feedback, as well as through the partner satisfaction. And it's been really super positive. They've consistently highlighted it comes across very simple, clear structure, which is exactly what we wanted. They appreciate that it avoids the unnecessary complexity, which again is super important because we've not wanted our partners to jump through multiple hoops. Many can see already from a framework perspective, it really supports that long-term partnership instead of that purely transactional model, and that the onboarding journey that their experience is around the capability consultancy approach has been really well received. We haven't created something that they've got to sit down for 45 minutes and answer a series of questions. It's really intuitive with data that we've already got. So we're not asking them to duplicate that and then bridge any of those gaps to give us things that can help us with them, on that journey. So the partners have really valued that collaborative discussion around the growth and the development, because they can see as well we're providing them back with reports and recommendations of how we can help them bridge those gaps. And then more importantly, they're now coming together with us to build out what those consultancy growth toolkits look like. So we have ensured bringing in all the way from the beginning the partners on the journey and listening to what they've perceived, good, bad or indifferent. But there's definitely a clear appetite to expand into services. We know that we got some feedback already from yourself and others that sustainability is a really key factor, and that's something that we're hugely focused on for 26. So very much watch this space. They're wanting further development from us on specific accreditations and certifications and recognition. And then finally, the cadence of communication. They've said that they've now seen that we're leveraging with them, enhancing the local OpCos of their communication patterns today. We're enhancing that through, the partner portal by really providing them with easy clarity on engagement and messaging to really maintain that momentum. And because Unity is really at its early stages, we're going to be continuing to listen really closely to our partners, and through face-to-face engagement, as well as surveys, as well as the operating countries asking for their feedback at the events.
Yes, so there's definitely seems to be this path to evolution of the program, and partner feedback is shaping future updates. Rowan, is there anything in particular that you expect to see in the program as it's refined over the next 12 to 24 months?
I think I mentioned it earlier, to be honest. The program will continue to evolve. Obviously, we're going to keep a close eye on market conditions and the feedback we receive from our partners. I mentioned it before, Ricoh remains an acquisitive organisation. So as we bring those new products, software and services to market, we're going to naturally become part of the overall proposition. For now, I think we've probably got more than enough to launch with. And I think maybe version 1.1, we'll probably end up bringing some other areas to Unity in the coming weeks and months, I guess. But like I said, process automation's key for us. We've got a fantastic lockers offering. We've got products like Ricoh Spaces, which again is an amazing product for us. So there's numerous things that we'd like to bring to it, but we just need to make sure that those products are fit for the partner channel and that they're ready to launch and they're easy to sell and they're super profitable. So I think we'll continue to do that as time progresses, but we don't want to rush it to any of that to market.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And Kelly, you mentioned also that it's very much a consultative approach, and with these capability assessments, that really helps you understand where your partners are in terms of their journey, whether they're hardware focused or more services led. Do you see data being as a key element of future partner engagement as you further develop the program?
Yeah. So just to cement what Rowan was saying, we will get back together as a team in April time. Once we've launched those other 13 operating countries, and really assess what have we done, what have we delivered upon, and then what does next steps look like. And like Rowan said, this is a journey. We're not here to rush this. We don't want to rush this equally with the partner community, because I think they have enough under their remit to focus on. This should be an enabler and enhancement to help support them on that journey. So yeah, having that meeting internally, getting back everybody around the table, and then we need to refine and look at what we have deployed so far. It's a transition period of helping our OpCos who have either never had a partner program, or they've had some form of pricing model, or like the UK had a foundation of a partner program. Like some of our OpCos is then transitioning those partners into now Unity, helping them, nurture them through the onboarding partner journey. So we have that within the tool. So it's really their, executive assistant for the partners over the next 12 months is really going to support them, making them part of the membership, maintaining that membership, and then enabling us to understand whether we need to refine and develop further specializations. The question that you mentioned around data is absolutely key. This isn't about us getting data to report on partners. This is about using the data with the partners, sharing it back through a glass, mirror, then bringing them back into a workshop with us to help us really define that consultative growth toolkit approach. So what are the assets? What are the white spaces? What are the opportunities? How do we help with the business planning? How do we help upskill their organizations if there's an appetite and a desire to do that? How do we enable them with more content that's going to make more sense for them, and campaigns that's going to help drive new partner logos, acquisitions for them? So data is going to be very key around partner engagement, and then continuing to keep listening to, as we've mentioned before, to the partners. I think that's key as well, that we don't move too fast, and we make sure that we embed this, everybody is comfortable, and then we can continue to keep evolving it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, one thing from Quocirca's perspective is that we're seeing more traditional print OEMs move to become long-term technology partners for their customers. And I know we've really focused on the channel partner discussion here, but I think in terms of your end customers, they're ultimately looking for Ricoh to be a long-term technology partner. So what ultimately does success look like for Unity, perhaps in 3 years, and how will that impact your channel, and what does this ultimately mean for end customers?
So for me, success is for Unity to go beyond the program adoption, the levels and the specialism progression. It's really about creating meaningful, measurable impact for both our partners and for Ricoh. It's in line with our Japanese heritage around the 3 loves, the 3 values. I think that's super important for us. First and foremost, success means deeper, more strategic partnerships. We really want to move again from that transactional interaction to more collaborative business planning. So the joint go-to-market execution and shared growth objectives really means that engagement is significantly stronger. So clearer alignment on those priorities and building that mutual investment and trust. Secondly, really the success is very much around that stronger for the partner to drive more profitability within their organization. So the program should really enable those partners, not just from a top line revenue perspective, but also their own margins and their own reoccurring revenue, particularly through services and solution led opportunities. Those partners that are more confident in investing in those new capabilities and expanding into those digital services are seeing more of that sustainable return as a result. And then Unity is really then delivering that real value, quid pro quo on both sides. But I think ultimately we want it to be seen as that long-term service partner, just not simply a product vendor. That shift is really critical. And in essence, success looks like that shared growth, that increased capacity, growth, and a partnership that's built on the future rather than the past.
Yes, and Rowan, I think in the UK, you've already got a very strong presence in terms of your services capabilities around cybersecurity, workflow automation, and so on. Are you seeing that this is going to help elevate those capabilities with partners? And is that something you're looking to extend in terms of the success of this program rollout?
Yeah, of course. Going back to what success looks like, I guess, and connecting it to your question, for me, I like to keep things super simple. For me, success would be happy, engaged, loyal partners who really feel that Ricoh values and cares about them, but who also understand that we offer them the best-in-class, profitable products, softwares and services. But then that knock-on effect is they have the same, their customers have the same feelings about them. Their customers feel super engaged. Their customers are super loyal because of the benefits that we can bring to them via Unity. And the question that you ask, we do have very close relationships with our partners. We've been with our partners for many, many, many years, and they trust us. So I like to think that the new products and services we bring to them, whether that's cyber, whether that's process automation, or whatever it might be, they're going to trust the fact that we vetted the product, we understand the product, and it's going to be a great product for them to take to market. And more importantly, it's going to be a great product for them to sell profitably.
Yeah, that's great. I really appreciate you sharing more information on the Unity program. I think it's been really great to understand the UK perspective as well, and in terms of how it's a foundational platform for your channel partners to be more strategic and services-led with their customers really plays out. And I think we will include some visuals of how the programme is structured and some links to more details on the programme. But in closing, I think it'd be great for both of you to share 3 key takeaways for the programme. So Kelly, would you like to start?
As we move forward, 3 principles that will remain at the heart of our approach. Collaboration, to work really closely with our partners and truly listen to their needs. Growth come from shared objectives and mutual trust. Simplification, so we need to continue to keep checking in with ourselves, making sure that it's clear, it's easy and it's digestible. Complexity, we know, slows momentum, so simplicity drives that action. Innovation, so we need to embrace that automation and digital tools to enhance efficiencies whilst protecting and strengthening human interaction. So when we look at Unity in the design, it was really, simplify the partner experience while supporting multiple growth models, reflect where the market is going, not where it's been. It's a journey. And, we're very much at the start of that, and it will be ongoing from an evolution. And the partners' feedback is super important. And, we're building a modern strategic partnership model here, one that's simpler, smarter, and built for sustainable growth together.
I'm sure there's going to be some crossover. But number 1 for me is, remember, this is version 1.0. We will continue to invest and grow alongside our partners as we move forward. Unity is a foundation for us. It's not the finished article, but I think our partners should take great knowledge in the fact that this is a big investment for Ricoh, and we're fully committed to our channel and to our partner network going forward. And this platform will enable us to continue investing in our partners going forward. So for me, that's fantastic news. Number 2, we will continue to operate with agility, and we'll continue to have our local decision making. But Unity is going to provide us with a shared platform that enables us to collaborate more effectively, and it genuinely will enable us all to help each other grow together. And I think number 3, it sounds obvious. The next 10 years, as we move towards celebrating our 100th anniversary, there's going to be a whole load of change in our industry. But I firmly believe that Ricoh, supported by Unity and our strong partner network, is so well positioned, not just to respond to that change, but genuinely to lead it. I honestly think there's loads of exciting times ahead of us. So the fact that we've got Unity now as a platform to enable us to push on into the next 10 years is, for me, is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Some great points and key takeaways. And absolutely, we do see Ricoh Unity as a great initiative, and I feel like it's leapfrogged a lot of other programs, because you have come in, Kelly, and built quite a sophisticated but simple program for your partners. So I think it really will help with those partners even innovating in their own business and being able to become more mature in terms of their services delivery. And it really sort of underlines Ricoh's commitment to the channel. So I really want to thank you for taking the time to join me today and share more information. And as I say, we'll include more details in the show notes for anybody who's got any questions on the Ricoh Unity channel program. So thanks again for joining me today.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining today's episode of In the Spotlight with Quocirca. For more information, please visit quocirca.com and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.